Hello and welcome to the Fairy Little Podcast. I'm Marsha, also known as Fairy Little, and this is my podcast. And today it's going to be all about knitting. So I have a couple projects that I have been working on. I don't have any finished objects, but I am also going to talk about what's been going on a little bit for me, but I'm going to leave that to the end to Jibber Jabber, and you'll understand why when we get there. So welcome anybody who is new, and welcome back anybody who has watched before and just enjoys the community. I am currently wearing a hoodie that I designed. It is not out. It hasn't been released yet. It's still with my test knitters until the 9th. So it's 9 days away. This is the first when I'm recording the podcast. You will see it on the 4th. On Thursday is when I post them. That gives me enough time to do the recording, editing, and my patrons get a early viewing on Tuesday, and then Thursday it comes out for public viewing. My patrons also get ad-free access to the podcast. So theirs doesn't have any ads. It's actually, I upload 2 different videos. One is for the general population, one is for patrons that is ad-free. So what I'm wearing is my new hoodie design. This one I was just playing with the stripes in it. There's, in the pattern, it calls for, there's a stripe version, which isn't this stripe version. This is a different one that I haven't put this information in there yet. And I don't know if I'm going to, it's just a variation. So I might just add a variation into it as an option. Otherwise, there's like a 3-colored stripe one and a single colored one. But this is one of my ones that I created when I was creating the pattern in the first place. So I was playing with what I wanted to look like. And then I ended up with a really cool looking sweater. This yarn is Through the Looking Glass, is who it is, what color it is. I cannot remember who it is by. I do know I purchased the yarn at Knit City, and I did order it custom from a vendor. I cannot remember who the vendor was. This was probably three years ago or 4 years ago that I purchased this yarn. I actually got a skein the year before, and one of my friends wanted me to knit her a pair of socks out of it, so I did that, and then I didn't have enough left to make anything, so I pre-ordered 3 more skeins. I think it was 3 more skeins. And then, so I used those 3 skeins, what I had left over, and I grabbed a skein of black yarn. And this black, I think, is Sweet Georgia in the Cauldron colorway. So there's a bit of a gauge difference between the Through the Looking Glass and the Cauldron. The Cauldron is a bit of a heavier fingering, and I did knit this one out of a fingering. The pattern calls for a light DK, and which is also a heavy fingering, which you'll understand when that pattern's released. And I'll show you the other one that I'm knitting. I have shown it in the past, so I'll show the other one that I'm knitting next week, because I need to get working on that too and get it finished with my test knitters. But calls for a specific yarn. You can substitute yarns, but gauge is important. So you don't want to end up with something that's really too big or really too small. It has a hood. It's a very comfortable hood. It's actually inside out right now. I just did the hood striped as well as the body, so it just continues on the same way as the body. And again, I was just playing with stripes, but I really like how this looks and how it turned out. It also has a pocket in the front, which is very, very fun. It has I-cord for the hood, so you can actually cinch up the hood, and it has an I-cord closure for the front. I did the I-cord for the crisscross quite a bit shorter than the one for the hood, because it just felt like a lot of string hanging off. So I just did it shorter, and it's not really necessary to have it longer. You're not really tying it. So it's just the look of it's really, really cool. It was very nice to knit. I am going to knit more. I have a couple sweaters worth of the yarn. It's Berocco Remix Light is the yarn that the pattern calls for. You can of course use something else, but that's the one it does call for. So if you have a heavier DK, it might put strain on your wrists. You might want to go with a lighter DK or a heavy fingering if you're going to knit this, and then just knit to gauge. And change your needles sizes if you need to get gauged. Go up a needle size or down a needle size or whatever you need to do to get there. That is my little hoodie that I'm wearing. I really like it. I wore it to work today, and then I changed into my scrubs after I got there. It's really very nice. So I had my first day at in a new position. I used to work as a women's support worker, and I worked with women who were fleeing abuse. And I just am unable to do that work right now. So I actually applied for a different position, and now I am a youth support worker, which is something that I'm very much passionate about and I have a lot of experience with. So I feel like it's a better fit for me. Oh, and my little earrings that I'm wearing, they're little butterflies, and they're made by a local artist. And one of my girls found them and got them for me for Christmas. They were a Christmas gift. And they're just so pretty. And I just wanted to wear something pretty to work today. So what am I working on? Let me show you. I cast something on new because I'm going through all my old patterns. So if you purchased any of my patterns, you might notice there's updates coming through for each of them because I'm changing the format. I'm getting my new tech editor to go over everything on all of them. So they have the same style. They have the same punctuation. They have the same repeat structure and adding sizes as well. My Skaha sweater is going to be updated probably tomorrow. I have just a couple little tweaks left to do. And I've added 2 more sizes. It went up to size 50-inch chest, and the next size up is a 55-inch chest, and the size after that is a 60-inch chest. So I'm adding that. I've also made changes to the raglan decreases because it's a bottom up. So the raglan decreases have changes as well. So there's more space in the shoulders and arms for the larger sizes. So that will be coming in the next, couple days, probably tomorrow. I'm going to aim for tomorrow. So by the time you see this, it should be done. But having said that, what we're doing is we're going through all of my old patterns, every single one of them, re-editing them, getting schematics, getting everything redone so everything's consistent, and working out any bugs or anything that got lost in translation. My very first ones, I didn't work with a tech editor. I just worked with my test knitters, and those ones are getting tech edited for probably the first time. And then my next bunch of patterns were tech edited by a new tech editor who she no longer tech edits. And, but there was certain things that were missed, like in the Skaha sweater, there was some details that were missed. And it was, both of us were so green, and so I think that was part of it. And then I had another tech editor who was also new, and we worked together for a little bit, and now I have a new tech editor who has been doing it for a long time. We'll go through and she'll edit and I'll make corrections, and she's so good, she edits her own edits. So we've been going back and forth a lot on a lot of different designs. She's working on 10 right now, I think. So there's a lot going on there. One of the designs that I am working on right now with her is called the Winter Doldrums. This pattern was designed because sometimes winter sucks, and this was pre-COVID winter suckingness, and now it's just that point when you're sick of winter and you want spring, but it's like that, I don't know, it's like a 2 or 3 week period where it's just gray and it's not nice enough to go outside, but it's too nice to stay inside, but you don't want to. And it's just like the caught in between That's what this shawl is for. So it's called Winter Doldrums. It was released in the winter of 2019. Anybody who pays attention to that date, that was when I separated from my ex. So this was during that time. This was designed because it was super, super rough time. Winter Doldrum shawl is linked below, and it is free on Ravelry. So if you don't have it yet, go get it. I am working on an edit. The only thing really being edited is we're adding a schematic and we're changing the format. So when that gets re-uploaded, that's all that's changing. Everything else is fine. But my tech editor requested that I measure one side of the shawl, and I could not find it. So I thought, well, I might as well knit it because it's winter and this is the season that I designed it, and I designed it fairly quickly. So I started knitting it, and then I found the actual winter doldrums. So here it is. This is it finished. This is not the one that I started. This is the one that's in the pictures. So that's that one. And this is the one that I started. It's being knit on some Chow Goose in Smith & U Sparkle Yarn Cake, variegated fuchsia, purple, and turquoise. So it's sparkly. It has all my favorite colors in it. It is perfect for when you have the winter doldrums on some giant Chow Goose, because these are the ones that I found. These are way too big for this shawl, but I'm happy with it. It's okay. I have it in this beautiful bag, and it says knit and stitch. Bits. Knit and stitch bits. That's what it says. My eyes, I don't know what's happening. I'm just aging, I guess. I've been taking pictures of things and zooming in to be able to see them. I did that twice today already, and I thought about it just now. So knit and stitch bits. That's who created this beautiful bag. It's so cute. It has a really cute liner. It's a soft liner in it. This is perfect for the one cake project. It fits my project and my yarn and my pattern perfectly. So if you're interested in the winter doldrums, you can go on over to Ravelry and pick it up. I have some more work on my website to do in the next few days. There's just the final things that I have to do. Not all my patterns will be available on it because I don't want to upload my patterns onto my website until they're all updated. So the ones that will be available through my website are all of the updated ones, not the old versions. So that will be coming. The next thing I've been working on, I talked about this last week. It is housed in my Fat Squirrel bags by the Fat Squirrel, who also has the Fat Squirrel Speaks podcast, Amy Beth. I love this bag. I got it the day before Rhinebeck started a couple years ago when I went to New York. Looks like one of the needles just flew out and then flew back in. I was hoping to have this done. It's called the Inward Wrap. And I was hoping to have it done by this time. I did not get it done. A whole bunch of other things came up, and I was very busy selling a spinning wheel and finding other things to like list and sell. So that is why this hasn't gotten a lot done. So the side you saw last week, I was only a couple of rows away from the end. So this is how close to the end I was. I think there's like 4 rows to there, and that got this side done. And then I picked up, well, the stitches are on. I just started knitting down the other arm. And that starts right here. And I've knit all of this from that marker all the way up to here. I am on my last repeat, so I only have the rest of this dark pink section. Then I have another green section and another light pink section and then another black section. And then I end that on the black section. Then I'll be picking up stitches around it and doing the edging in the yellow. So that's coming along. The edging usually takes me a day or two to do because it's a lot of stitches and it's a few rows before you actually bind off. It's coming along so beautifully though. I am enjoying it. The yarn we are looking at here, color 1 is the yellow, and that's Riverstone yarn. And that's in the Gold Rush colorway. The next color is the dark pink, and that is Nicole C. Mendez in Reuben. The green is Apple Fiber Studio in Peridot. The light pink is Riverstone Yarns in Rose Quartz. Then the black is Riverstone Yarns in Diamonds at Night. All of these yarns have sparkle in them, and they are all so nice to knit with. I'm enjoying them a lot. This is one of my favorite projects. It's so relaxing. There is pattern in it, but there's rest rows in between. So it's a section, and by the time you get sick of a section, you're changing colors and you're changing the pattern. So it keeps your interest, well, it keeps my interest a lot because I get excited to finish that color and go on to the next color, and then change that color, go on to the next color and pattern. And it's coming along beautifully, and I'm really hoping by the time you see it next week, it will be done, but fingers crossed. Since I am back at work, there's 2 full days that I won't have available to me to be doing this. So I'll just work that into my schedule somehow. We'll figure it out. And that's on Chow-Goo needles also. I don't know if I mentioned that. So that is it for the knitting content for today. If that's all you were here for, thank you so much for joining me. And I look forward to seeing you next week. And I hope you have a great weekend. So for the rest of you, it's time for Jibber Jabber. So let's get into it. A lot has happened in the last week, and I'll talk about what happened, and then I will talk about some things. So a couple years ago, I separated from my ex, and that situation was not good. Since then, I knew when I left that it was going to be what's considered a high conflict situation. So I knew that I would need to hire a lawyer. I'm not going to get into the details because I'm still in it. I still have my lawyer. I hired my lawyer right away. If you're in a situation where you need to leave, some situations you need to leave right now, but some situations you need to plan to be able to get out in a safe way. And if that's your situation, get a hold of your local women's shelter. They can give you a lot of resources as to what to do. Also, tell somebody what's happening. Tell somebody, get some people on your page. I know that it's very isolating being in a situation like that. I know it is. And I know that a lot of people like to keep face and not talk about it. And that can be really dangerous all on its own. And a most dangerous time in a relationship like that is when you leave. So make sure that you have support in place so that you can go. I'm just going to leave that there. If you want to talk or you need some pointers in the right direction, then do not hesitate to contact me. I can help you walk through the process of getting ready to go. But one of the things that has happened is things should have been dealt with by now. And my lawyer's time has been wasted a lot. I recently received a bill from my lawyer that is very difficult to pay on my own. Because this process has taken so long and lawyers are expensive and I didn't qualify for any sort of funding when I first left, I had to hire somebody separately. I let them know right away that it was going to be high conflict and what that would probably look like. So that's where I am. So I received this bill and I panicked, and I reached out on Instagram to anybody who follows me. A lot of amazing podcasters and yarn dyers and other designers have given me shout outs and put my situation out there, because I need help right now to take care of this, and it's bigger than me. And I thought really long and hard before I mentioned it, because like I said, there's a lot of shame associated with a situation where, you know, you can't do it on your own. And so I have I put out there that I'm asking for help. I put a discount code on all of my patterns. They are 50% off right now to help raise the money to pay for this bill. The coupon code is capital HELP, capital MARSHA, and that's on Ravelry, and you can go in there and purchase any one of my patterns, purchase any 2 of my patterns, or however many you want for 50% off. And you can also pick up that winter doldrums for free while you're in there. So far, I have raised quite a chunk. I'm not at halfway point yet, but I've raised a good chunk that it has relieved a lot of anxiety for me. I've also been privileged to people reaching out to me and sharing some of their stories with me, which I'm so glad that so many of you who have experienced this have gotten out and have seen the light at the end of the tunnel, because this is a long road. And I've grown in ways that I had no idea I could grow in. I'm way stronger now than I ever was. Having said that, I have a really, really great counselor, because I have some PTSD, and she's been working through that with me. And hopefully by the end of that, I won't have any of the big triggers that I've experienced. I've had so many people just breathing life into this situation for me, you know, encouraging me, thanking me for sharing my story and for sharing my knitting, and you know, and it's like, when you share something like this, it's like standing naked in front of a crowd, and you know, there's some people who are gonna have something to say about it, and that's fine, they can have their opinions, but I know that this is, it's just hard. So I want to thank everybody who has purchased patterns. There's been some amazing people who have sent me money donations using my PayPal Me, which is also linked below. And my patrons, they support me on a monthly basis. There's 3 of them so far, and they're amazing. And it's a cute little group that I enjoy a lot. People have reached out with offering help with my patterns, which is amazing. People have purchased patterns, whether it's one or it's all of them, I appreciate every single gesture so much. The people who can't and they just contact me and tell me that they're thinking of me or they're praying for me, everything helps. Even that, like there's the physical need, but then there's this like other part that's bigger than all of that. And I'm really grateful to every single one of you for all of the support that I've received. And just heartfelt thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I'm just gonna leave that there before I cry. So I hope you have an amazing rest of your week. I hope you have an amazing weekend. And I hope you get to knit on something beautiful. And if you need a new pattern, go grab the winter doldrums for free, and maybe you could knit on it with me over the next week or so. Until next time, have a beautiful day.